deepening. During the last 2 decades, or 1 decade we can say, the word has become very popular nowadays, financial deepening. Earlier finance was neglected in the classical theory, but I think, the new science is developed. And along with the financial deepening, the trade openness and capital inflow, how these 3-4 variables are influencing the Indian economic growth. China and India are the two emerging economies, and I think these two economies are the subject of this theory. The theory is based on 3 words: financial repression, financial liberalization, then financial deepening, and how financial deepening pushing up the growth, how it has become the important instruments nowadays to increase the economic growth process. We have seen about 112 banking episodes in 98 countries during the last 2 decades. All countries have risen to the all extent in terms of technology, in terms of agriculture development, in terms of trade and growth process, in terms of industrial development. Like Asian tiger developed to the extent, high extent. Even after this, basic question arises. If we have developed in almost all technology, scientific development, why collapse is there? Asian tigers proved the example before the world looked towards Asian tiger. But now, when the Asian tiger collapsed within a week, what do you mean by that? When you have gone to that extent, risen to that extent, more than 10% economic growth, and you can go down within a week, what is the reason? That means there is something wrong. What? My proposition is that your domestic financial system is not a strong one. There is something wrong with your balance sheet. There is something wrong with your domestic financial system. Because when you have developed everything, why you are collapsing? 2008 US crisis, Mexican crisis, Argentina crisis, then US crisis, 2009 Saudi Arabia crisis, and then Europe crisis, Greece crisis, Portugal crisis, Europe crisis. Why? So the answer lies in this paper that your domestic financial system is something wrong with that. You make it sound. Because if the domestic system is not sound enough, you cannot absorb any external shocks. So this proposition, this is some introduction or motivation behind this paper. With certain outlines in the abstract and motivation, significance of this study, I think, because all these countries are the subjects of this, this kind of exercise. The point is that this word financial deepening is a new word. During the last 1 decade, more than 200 studies have appeared on this, in almost all the countries. This is a case of the finance growth nexus. Now, the system is, it has become interdisciplinary subject now. In geography, in commerce, in management, in economics, in technology, in mathematical sciences, the word is being studied. This financial deepening. Basic objective is, it traces the relationship between financial deepening and economic growth. This is the basic point. Second, traces the relationship between financial deepening, trade openness, capital inflow, and economic growth, and to study the causal relationship among the 4 variables. Now, this is the basic model behind this. Mackinnon Shaw was a very important man in the world, Before 70s, the entire world was under the financial depression. The word was popularized by Mackinnon Shaw. Keynesian theory was based on low-cost economy, 36 onward to 60s. Low-cost economy, put interest rate down, low cost, low price, high demand. This was the low-cost economy that developed have witnessed that. But all of a sudden, the low-cost economy turns into high-cost economy in around late 60s or early 60s, 70s. This word was captured by Merkel and Shaw, and they said that this is a financial depression, and this financial depression caused negative growth rate in certain countries. Meaning of financial depression means that the government tries to control quantity, allocation, and price of credit. It means a complete control of the government on the financial system. When the repressed system is, then they called it as a financial depression word. The word was popularized by financial depression. Before this, this is a point of financial depression here. Okay, here it's not one. This is the repression point. Okay, sorry. Repression point. Under this repression, the world was there. China was there. India was also there. Maximum number of countries were under financial depression. Because financial depression, I think, under this point, low saving and low growth, we find low equilibrium level of saving and investment. But for the first time, the word was there. Low-cost economy turned into high-cost economy. The Kemekin wrote these two books. Most popular book, Theory of Financial Liberalization, written by Mackinnon, and Theory of Financial Deepening. The first paper was published in Indian Economic Review, and Edward Shaw. These two books, I think, talked about financial liberalization. They said, remove your repression, come forward and make it liberalized. Come to market. So, from this point, the world would move towards market trade. Liberalization. This phase was called as a financial liberalization. The world has moved from financial depression to financial liberalization. Under this financial liberalization, now almost all countries have adopted this. This maintenance of paradigm was adopted by more than 100 countries within 2 or 3, 4 years. The policy was adopted. Financial liberalization policy was adopted by 100 countries more than. And the maintenance of paradigm has become the new paradigm of development. China says that due to liberalization, out of 10% growth rate, 2% goes to the contribution of liberalization. Even in my own paper, when I studied the Chinese economy, the 2% growth goes to the financial liberalization process. Malaysia, Turkey, Philippines, all these countries have adopted. But now, we cannot say this is a successful story. There are certain Latin American countries who adopted it. Brazil, Mexico, NBA, and Argentina. They also adopted the same theory, but they are subject of the rapid liberalizers. They have not, accepted this, adopted the sequencing and the, gradual approach. While China, India, Malaysia, and all these countries, Turkey, they have adopted the gradual approach, the cautious approach, NBA. This is the, basic mathematics of Mackinnon-Shaw. Mackinnon says this is the real interest rate, real deposit interest rate. That means the deposit in banking and the inflation, then our real deposit rate is going to the banking system. The theory says that the public must get real interest rate on their deposits. If they are getting real interest rate on their deposit, the public will move towards the banking system. Banking will collect the funds and banking will invest judiciously to the investors, and the country will move off. So this, the process goes like this: forward, real money back stock, and real interest rate, real deposit interest rate, and real ratio of investment to output, and nominal interest rate on deposits, expected future rate of investment, the price level. The process goes like that. If you increase real deposit rate, the money demand, real balances will increase, and it will put again high the real investment, and it will increase the real income in the country. This is the process. Why it is called as a complementarity? Complementarity theory that financial saving and real saving both are complementing each other. If you increase the financial saving, it will be supplemented by the real. However, the teens already rejected that idea, but again, McKinnon has proved it, and now the theory has proved success story. Anyway, this is the financial deepening and trade openness, that if you increase the financial deepening and foreign capital will inflow, and this is the Rajan-Zinger hypothesis, the famous hypothesis, Rajan-Zinger hypothesis, then cost of production goes down, and anyway, review literature, I think the famous review literature we can go. For the first time, Schumpeter, 1911, graced this theory of finance and innovation. In 1956, another book appeared on theory of finance by Gerland Shaw, 56. And the third book again appeared by McKinnon Shaw, the famous book McKinnon Shaw. Patrick also talked about the link between trade and finance, and he also talked about the two theories, growth-led finance and finance-led growth. But at that time in 1960, there was no empirical estimations. Now it is being done. In 1993, again, Stiglitz, Levine came. He also talked, he supported the theory. Endogenous theory also supported that if good financial system and good financial policy increase growth rate and cost of production goes down. But there are also the critic school of this theory. Critic school led by Lonsdale, Stiglitz, Winbargen, anyway, I am not the part of their criticism. I am the part of the first school, those who are supporting this, the theory and growth process. Financial deepening and economic growth, causal relationships there. I think the number of studies have done. Again, trade openness and growth. Trade openness pushes the growth rate. Foreign capital and growth rate. And I have also studied a 2 years study on foreign capital and economic growth the last 2 years, and one project I have completed on that. Indian studies. In 91, the Goldsmith, 1969, traced the relationship, and Gupta and Demetrius and Hassan, Banerjee and Ghosh, P.C. Pradhan, Rangarajan, Mahendra Pal itself, Trilok Singh, Subramanian Swamy, and all that. All these studies suggest that financial repression before 91 had negative effect on growth rate in India. Demetrius, the famous present governor of Cyprus, he wrote a paper, Cost of Financial Repression in India. And Mr. Raushu says that in India, I think that during the last 2 years, growth process goes to the finance-led growth. I think all these theories and the gentlemen support the theory finance-led growth hypothesis. Now, what is my contribution here? I have applied this McKinnon theory to the Indian economy. However, the policy maker of any nation never recognize the contribution of academicians and theoreticians, and they say they take their own claim. In India, the theory is applied 100% to the growth process of Indian economy, but not even a single government personnel have recognized the contribution of McKinnon. Their entire practice is based on. But anyway, this is the duty of the academicians, that they parallelly teach the public that, okay, first point is nominal deposit rate was stepped up in India after especially 90, and inflation kept down. This is the real interest rate has gone up. I think 85 onward we have been providing positive real interest rate to the depositors. Before that it was a negative real interest rate to the depositors. And this, the McKinnon says that if you are increasing real deposit rate in the banking, it will increase financial deepening. And this was financial deepening. You see, it was financial deepening. The main word is M3. M3 means C plus DD plus time deposits. Okay? M3. There are the two words, the narrow money and broad money. So broad money means currency, demand deposit, and time deposit. Time deposits, the financial deepening has gone up, I think, 80% after 2000. It's a glaring example, I think, more of the developed country. Foreign capital, which was just around, centering around this 1 point, very less point. Now, after 90, it has gone up. It's again 8% foreign capital in 2008. So I think India has achieved this great. It has become the great in the financial sector center. The world capital is moving towards. Earlier it was moving towards China. Now it is moving towards India. So it has become the great, a very good center of this foreign capital now. The entire exercise has led our growth rate 10 to 9%. However, during the last few years, I think it went down. Government changed. How this is the political process, how to change the government. It is not the fault of the policy. It is not the fault of the fundamentals of the economy. It may be due to the parliamentarians that they were just blaming of this. Anyway, methodology which I have used is co-integration, Johnson co-integration vector error correction methodology. To prove this test of integration, I think this is all traditional co-integration test methodology. I applied it. Model specification. The basic model is growth-led finance and finance-led growth. This is the financial development is the function of income. This is the growth-led finance. And other model is why the function of finance is supply leading the original word of finance-led growth. So I am supporter of the finance-led growth. I say that the financial is the irresponsible in increasing growth. Financial deepening is a process of. Another model is when I include this, along with the actual GDP, I'm also taking this, trade openness and then private saving. And the third model, which is I'm testing along with the financial deepening, trade openness and foreign capital. The results are data source is traditional, everybody knows that. Instruments, measurement of the word which I have taken, M to GDP ratio. This word has been used by the original Mackinnon, Bhatia, Katkate, Vogel, Whistle, almost all important and practitioner economists have taken this word. But the word is M3 GDP ratio, which is called as financial deepening. This is the first model empirical test, without trend, and we are getting, after first differencing both the variables, integrated at order 1. Phillips pattern test also proving both the series are stationary after first differencing. The results, Johnson co-integration says that 27% is more than 25, and I think it is showing that longer relationship. Co-integration means longer relationship, 20 more than 30 years later. It's not a fluctuating, it's a longer relationship. Co-integration tactic says that it's a longer relationship in both the variables we are getting. Vector error correction estimates in the first panel we find, this shows that the 0.53, that 0.54, it shows the elasticity coefficient. Please, elasticity coefficient, the 1% rise in M3 GDP ratio, 1% rise in financial deepening causes 0.4%, 54% growth rate in India. This topic says that 67, that is ECT, error correction term, shows that 67.67, that's 0.67%, shows that Indian economy is so fast adjusting economy that in 1 year, the 67%, the disequilibrium is corrected by the economy. That means the fast adjusting variable. After that, we can do fast adjusting economy 67%, the ECT chart is showing, it's showing the minus as per the theory, it was 0 to 1, it goes like that. Second model, I think again we find when I just taking the trade openness and private saving, already M3 is also there. It is showing the two co-integrating factors here. 64 more than 47, 33 more than 29, and probability point is very less. It means it is showing first was trace test, and this is the trace statistics. Johnson has created these statistics to trace the long-term relationship, and this is maximum eigenvalue. The same again, it is coming the same same value from that. When we talk about normalized co-integration, again, I think in this case M3 M3, the financial deepening is causing 9.94% of the economic growth. Trade openness 85, and however it is showing the negative results. If you take the causal relationship, I think again we are getting our support. M3 is causing Y, openness causing Y, private saving causing Y. Again, the simultaneous effects of all the variables. Model 3, here I am taking the foreign investment or foreign capital. It is only one point integrating factors we are showing here. That is the poor results when I am including the foreign capital. But this is a bad luck on the part of the government of India. Even RBI is not in a position to explain what exactly the meaning of foreign capital. Just. But anyway, I have done the exercise and I have collected, because the RBI says that foreign investment portfolio, okay, portfolio and FDI. What's the last slide, okay, sir? And here I think the 1 point we are getting the poor results, okay, and maximum income value also 1. Normalized standards. Again, M3 is causing Y, openness causing Y, Y is causing financial investment, openness. I think these are all supporting results. This is the conclusion. Conclusion is that you remove financial repression, remove government control. You should liberalize your economy. Please. I'm kind your attention, please. This is a very important policy making. Okay. So please, you can criticize me later on. But let me say something. What I'm going to say. Please. Malaysia is one of the important examples of that. Remove financial repression, then liberalize your economy, increase financial deepening and increase economic growth. India, China, Malaysia, Turkey are the example of it. Now, what I'm getting support from this journal. This paper has been written by some Japanese economists, and in this Hitoshiwa's journal, the findings of this journal says that out of these 42 studies, 32 studies are showing finance-led growth. It means my exercise is being supported by the journal. 32 out of 42. 7 studies show only growth-led finance, and only 2 shows negative, that finance has no. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure to be invited to discuss Professor Pal's first of all, many thanks for your excellent presentation.
Good, very good. I hope so.
It's really very interesting and impressive. In recent years, regional financial crises have drawn global attention to the relationship between finance and goods. So many people have realized the importance of regulation of financial institutions. Literature on finance and economic growth provides ambiguous explanations. The theoretical literature started with the pioneering work of Schumpeter in 1911, who stated that financial development is important for growth because developed financial structure offers efficient services for financial intermediaries, which transfer funds to most emerging entrepreneurs. It is now generally accepted that economic growth requires the building up of the financial infrastructure to help in the process of resource mobilization and the effective and efficient deployment of resources. So the financial infrastructure will continue to grow and also diversify in the years to come. Now, I'd like to make a couple of comments on the empirical research part of your program. First, there are several indicators which which represent the degree of financial intermediation, such as M3, real rate of interest. In your paper, you traces the long-run relationship among the 5 micro variables, such as growth rate of GDP, X plus M versus GDP, M3 versus GDP ratio, foreign capital versus GDP ratio, and the private or corporate saving versus GDP ratio for the period of 41 years. And this service is part of the purpose of testing empirically the hypothesis of finance. Just now you mentioned finance led to growth in India. Second, in the light of the recent observation that the relationship between financial development and economic growth is one of the non-linear and limitation of grandeur test. Your paper re-examined the relationship in the framework of nonlinear grandeur causality by employing co-integration technique, which tells us about long-term equilibrium in the data. And to sum up my discussion, the theme in this paper is very important because it's a new phenomenon, not only happening in India, but also in many other developing countries. Yeah. So I think as a developing country, China also needs to pay attention to the relationship between finance and economic growth.
This already.
Yeah.
A very good book has been written by the Chinese.
And we need to learn lessons from your research.
Yeah, I'm little bit deeper in that also.
Yeah. So that's all for my part comment. Thanks again for your hard work.
Thank you.
Yes, please, sir. Without that, I think it's not there. Please do that. It will precisely 1 hour. My exercise, please, sir. Sir. No.
Well, I think
No, please don't talk. I think this is a time is there. No.
Any questions, sir? Please, sir.
Any questions? Okay. I'd like to conclude by thanking all of our presenters for providing us very provocative papers, and to thank all of you for coming. See you on the next World Finance Conference.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.